it's Janae here to brighten, enlighten, and ignite your day. Today's edition of The Gist is about the gold mine effect and how it affects you. Now this comes from the book, The Gold Mine Effect, Cracking the Secrets of High Performance. The author traveled around the world to 6 hot spots, the places where some of the best athletes in the world were being produced, and wanted to find out, what exactly were they doing? What were these athletes doing? What were the coaches doing? How about the parents? And when he came up with 8 core concepts. And so I'd really recommend this book if you like high performance, athletics, so forth. But there's just some great tips that I can give you now to help you get started on your inspiration as well as your transformation. So I have my black book here with my notes from the book and my the heart of it, kind of the gist of it that I want to share with you as well. So the first is the idea of the iceberg. When we think about an iceberg, we really only see the tip of the iceberg. And yet below the iceberg is a massive amount of ice beneath the surface. And that's very similar to performance. As I use an analogy in the book that about 10% of our current performance is at the tip of the iceberg, and yet we have 90% unseen tap potential. And that's really what these coaches did, is they found that untapped potential that they could really bring out of these athletes. So the inspiration is, how do we bring more of that iceberg effect into our lives? And the transformation for me to apply this is I have 3 sons, and how can I really tap into this unseen potential that I know that they have, and being able to share that with them as well. Serve a basketball to represent an example. We're in basketball season and just kind of wrapping that up here, but wanting to share with my boys that they have 10% of their current performance is what's happening right now with basketball, but there's so much unseen potential. If we can use not only our physical skills, but also the power of the mind. And there was the psychologist studies that had the power of the 3 throws, where there was a period of 30 days with 3 test groups. And one test group worked on shooting 3 throws 1 hour a day for 30 days. Another test group did nothing. And then a third test group just visualized making 3 throws for that same amount of time for 30 days. And what they found is, of course, the group that did nothing had no improvement. The group that worked at it for an hour every day for 30 days improved 24%, which was great. But what the iceberg effect really gets into is that untapped potential of the group who didn't do anything but just visualize the power of making 3 throws improved by 23%. So the power of the mind is untapped potential that most of us have not really even gone to the tip of the iceberg with. So I hope that you will be able to do that. Second part that inspired me is a clock that says the 10,000 hours. You probably heard this rule at some point, but from many different disciplines, they talk about the 10,000 hour rule, meaning that it takes 10,000 hours at least to master any kind of subject, whether this is from chess to sports to work to our home life. It takes an incredible amount of time and practice to get good at whatever trade that we're doing. So that really equates, as you can see on the clock, is for 2 hours and 45 minutes a day for 10 years. So that's an incredible amount of time, and what they found in these athletes is they started young. If you want to be good at something, the younger you can start, the better in building up those skills, because soon these youngsters, because sometimes that's all they did. I mean, that's all they had around them. because of poverty situations, etc., was to focus on running or soccer, etc. And so it gave them a heads up on being able to get started on this 10,000 hour rule. So if we want to have transformation in our life, that means we got to get started. We got to put the time into it, because it just takes time. So it's a good reminder for us to realize that maybe something hasn't happened to the fullest extent that we want because we just haven't put in enough time or hours yet. And then the third golden nugget for me is the fire with the grit on it. And this means that there just needs to be that burning desire. You know, those who want it the most are willing to put the most time and the most grit into it. As one psychologist called the study, is just grit. You're willing to just put in the hard work, the blood, the sweat, the tears to make it happen. The transformation for me around that is just even asking myself the question, you know, what am I really willing to put the grit into? What am I really willing to put that much time and effort into something that matters the most? And so what I'm trying to do in my own life and in my sons and those around me is just trying to light little sparks. You know, what are those areas kind of sparking that interest in the things that matter most to them, that knowing that it's a long road ahead, requiring a lot of hard work, you know, what's going to allow you to have that burning desire to put that time, effort, and that grit in. So that's my gist of it around the gold mine effect and how it affects you. I would love to hear from you and, you know, what inspires you and what you're doing around your transformation. You can share in the comments below. Also, if you're interested in the book, please check it out below as well. Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Gist, giving you the inspiration and the transformation that you need to make a breakthrough to inspire you. So from my heart to yours, be love.